In this video, we're going to have a look at the solution for the demo project 3, in which we are supposed to get two numbers and show the product. But unlike in demo project 2, where we simply had to do this functionality, we now have the additional requirement where we're supposed to do this in 3 separate stages. So the stage 1 would be just getting the first number, and then we'll remove everything that's related to that action, and then show stage 2 where we get the second number, and then similarly we'll remove all of that once that is done, and then show just the product as a separate page. So let's have a look at how to do this. So first I'm going to go and create a new folder to store the files for this project. So I'll say JS demo project 3, and inside here I'm going to create a new file, index.html. So now I'm going to close this folder and then open it in VS Code. So inside VS Code, I'm going to go to open folder and go to desktop, and then click on the folder and then select the folder. So now we have that file open in VS Code. Let's go ahead and create a simple HTML file. So in here, we're not going to add anything in the body section of this HTML file, because all of the things that we're going to do will require us to do it using JavaScript programmatically. So we're going to create a script tag here, and I'm going to add a type that says text/JavaScript. So the first thing that we need to do is we need to visualize how we're going to do this. Now, because we're getting the two numbers from the user, we need some variables to store it. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to declare some variables to store the values that we're getting from the user. I'm not going to give it any values because we're getting it as a user input. So I'm going to create var num1 and then var num2 to store the first two numbers, and then I'm also going to create a third variable called product, in which we'll store the product of those two numbers. The next thing we're going to need is we're going to need to create the elements using JavaScript so that we can add it to the body of the document. So I'm going to create a variable called input1, which will be the input in which we receive the first number. So for that, document.create element of the tag name input. Similarly, I'll also create a button to accept the input, document.create element of the tag name button. Now similarly, let's create an input and a button for the second number. I'm going to create input2 is document.create element type input, and var button2 is document.create element. So now that we have all of these created, we need to add this to the body of the document. And as we've seen previously, whenever we are trying to get the element from the document, we need to wait for the document to fully load onto the window, and then we can access the element from the document. So for that, we're going to write window.onload equals function, and in this function we're going to say var body. So this will be the variable in which we are collecting the body of the document, and I'll say document.get elements by tag name of the tag name body. And if you notice here, it says get elements by tag name, which means that it's going to get multiple elements of the same tag name. So you can imagine that if we write document.get elements by tag name div, a document can have multiple div elements. So it will collect all of the div elements and then present it as an array of those elements. But here we only have one body, and that will be the first element, right? So what we need to do is we need to get the first element of this array. Even if it's only one element, it will still serve it as an array. So we need to extract the item from the array. So what we'll do is we'll say square brackets, and then we'll write the index for the first element, which is 0. So here we're just accessing the first element of the array returned by the get elements by tag name method, and this is how we're doing that. So now that we have the body, we are going to go ahead and add the elements that we've created. So I'll say body.append child input 1 and then body.append child button 1. So let's go ahead and open this in a browser to see what it looks like. So you can see here that we have an input field and a button, and the button doesn't have a label in it. So let's fix that. I'm going to add a label to this button using a method called inner text. I'm going to give it a label of save first number. So this inner text is a way to add some text between the opening and the closing tag of an element. So if you remember, whenever we did the buttons before, for example, when you did the submit button, we had it like this, right? So this is the opening tag and this is the closing tag, and we had the label of the button between those two tags. So this will give us a submit button. Now this inner text is a way to add whatever string you're giving it as a value to the space between the opening and the closing tags. That's why it's called inner text. It's between the opening and closing tags. So that's what that method does. So this will give us a button with this label. Now let's go ahead and add a label to the second button as well. Save second number. Okay, so now let's save this and have a look at what it looks like. So we got the label for the button, and now it looks good. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to give this page some context. Right now, when somebody opens this page, they're not going to know what to do with it. So we'll add a title to the page and a description saying what the user should do here. So I'm going to create a couple of new elements. I'll say heading equals document.create element of the type of the tag name h2, and then var description equals document.create element of the type paragraph. Okay, so I'll say h2 dot inner text equals enter two numbers and view its product. Okay, and then similarly description dot inner text, which is going to ask them to enter the first number. So now let's we need to also append this to the body first. So body dot append child heading, body dot append child description. Save this and refresh. There seems to be some issue. So let's look at the console. h2 is not defined. Okay, sorry. Okay, this should be heading. Okay, so now we have the heading that says enter two numbers and view its product and enter the first number below. So this gives a context to the user when they first land on this page. So now the user can enter the number here and then click on this button. Now what we need to do is we need to figure out what happens when they click on this button. So for that, we're going to add an event listener to that button. So we'll say button1 dot add event listener of the type click, and then we'll give it a function that gets triggered when that happens. So we'll say num1 equals input1 dot value. So the first thing we're doing is we're capturing the value of the input1 and then storing it inside num1 that we created earlier here. And the second thing we're doing is we're removing the input1 field. So now that we collected the input1, we don't need to have the input1 and button1 feature. So let's remove input1, and then we'll also remove button1, and we need to show them input2 and button2. So we'll say body.append child input2 and then body.append child button2. Okay, so let's go have a look at what that does. So we're entering the first number and then saving the first number. Nothing happened. Okay, so there's a mistake here. Button1. Okay. So we're entering the number and then saving it. Now it shows the empty input field for the second number and then shows the button for the second number. We also need to change the inner text for the description here. So we'll do that. Description dot inner text equals and enter the second number. Okay, so now let's try that out. So enter the second number. Now we enter the second number and then click on the save second number. So now we had to add a event listener for the second button. So we'll say button 2 dot add event listener of the event click, and the function will go ahead and store the value of input 2 in num2, and we'll also remove input 2 and button 2, and we'll calculate the product, and then we'll change the description inner text equals the product is product. So maybe that went a little too fast. I'll explain what I did just now, but let's test it out first. So entering the first number and then the second number, and now it says product is 15. Okay, so what I did was I added the event listener for button 2, which will store the number 2, and then we're removing the input fields in the button field, and we're calculating the product, and then we're changing the description's inner text. We'll also add some context here. We'll say the first number is num1 and the second number is num2, their product is product. Okay, so that's a little more self-explanatory. So we got these two values from the user and then we're showing the product here. So there's one small thing that we need to do, which is that this input field currently accepts anything, so we need to restrict it to just numbers. So the way we can do that is we can say input1 dot type equals number. So what this will do is it'll add a attribute called type to the input element and assign the value number to that type. So that way it'll restrict only numerical values in the input field. Similarly, let's restrict it for input 2 as well. Okay, so now let's see this. So you can see that right now it shows the up and down arrows, which we can use this to just increase the value here. Say first number, and then so right now you cannot enter any text value. So right now I'm typing some letters and it won't register. So this is one check that we can do. The second check is basically to check whether they're entering any values. So right now, if you without entering any values, if you click on this, it will still register, and we don't want that. So what we can do is we can say if num1, then you do this. Okay, similarly here we'll say if num2, we'll do this. Let's see how that works now. So now when you click on the save first number, it doesn't do anything. Okay, that works great. You can add additional features, like maybe when they do this, you can show an alert box asking them to enter the value. So that would be done with something like this. You can add an else statement here and say window.alert, please enter a value. Similarly, we can do this here as well. Please enter a value. So this makes the whole feature a lot more user friendly. One more thing that you can do is you can make this look better. Right now we don't have any CSS here, so we can do some little things. For example, we can just simply modify the CSS by saying body.style.text align equals center. That will center align everything. Okay, this looks a little bit better. We can also say body.style.background equals orange, spelling orange, and give it a certain color. You can also add a margin property. Margin top equals 100 pixels. So that will center the items a little bit like this. Orange looks too bright, so I'll say RGBA 255, 255, 0. So let's see what this looks like. So this looks a little bit more pleasant to look at. You can change the values, of course. You can give it a little less opacity. So that looks a little bit better. You can also add it. You can also give it a border property. So let's not give the body a border property. We can add a div and give it that. So let's actually create a div here. Document.create element with the tag name div, and we can give the div all that stuff, and we can actually add that stuff into the div instead of directly into the body. Okay. Okay, let's see what that looks like. We need to also append the div to the body first. Okay, so we gave the div a border. Well, we have a spelling mistake here. So border. Okay, so 1 pixel is enough. We'll also give this div a padding of 20 pixels, and we'll also give the border a border radius property. Border radius equals, let's say, 5 pixels. So what a border radius does is it will round the corners a little bit. So right now it looks very sharp. So now if we save this, it will round the corners a little bit, and that looks a little better. You can also give this div a certain width property and restrict the width to 300 pixels. Let's see what that looks like. So it restricted the width a little bit, but now we need to also center it. So we'll say div.style.display equals block, and div.style.margin left equals auto, div.style.margin right equals auto, and that should center it. So now we have the thing in the center. We can also add a certain background to this div. Let's give the div a separate background. It's too bright, so let's change this to, let's give it the same thing with a different opacity, so that will look like it's highlighted differently. Okay, this looks a little better. You can actually go ahead and customize this in endless different ways. You know, it's up to you how you style this. Let's try it one more time. Okay, we may need to increase the width of this div container, so let's give it a 500 pixel width. So this looks a little better, so let's try it out. Okay, so this is great. I hope this is helpful. If this video was a little too fast for you, you can go ahead and watch this one more time and see how I did everything. You can also decrease the speed of this video and watch it on YouTube. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.